Hey guys, welcome back. In the previous video, we saw some use cases of creating different kind of annotated tests. And I mentioned that, in this particular video, we're going to see how we can use these different tags in different practical situations in continuous integration. So to take an example, let's say if you open the test CI YAML file, it contains two triggers. Every time something is merged on the main branch, and every time there's a pull request created on the main branch, it does exactly the same kind of actions, which is finds a machine, checks out the code, set up JDK, cache Maven, unlock secrets, and run all the tests which are not flaky and failing, right? Now, you might think like, what is the point of running the same test with a pull request and running the same test on a push on a main branch? And I think I sort of agree with you, because imagine if you have too many pull requests being created in your project, and imagine if you have like lots of test cases. Maybe you don't want to run all your test cases to run with a pull request. Maybe you do want to run them with a actual merge on the main branch, which is non-blocking in nature. But maybe you don't want to run all the test cases with a pull request. And what do you do then? I think the easiest approach is, which is also like an ugly approach, is you just make a copy of this, and let's just start with that, right? Like make stuff work and then make it better. So if I call it as test on pull request, and you can have another file which is called as refactor rename test the tester on merge to main, right? And what we're going to do is make very little changes. So in merge to main, we are going to remove the trigger for pull request and we're going to keep everything the same. We're going to run all the tests except the flaky and failing test. And in the pull request, we are going to remove the trigger on push, and we are only going to run the test which are let's say t groups equals, and I would call them as smoke test, right? Just to make you guys show like how this works. We currently have this one test class, test sandbox, and we have 10 repeated tests here, and then you have 1, 2, 3 more test cases here, right? If I just do a Maven clean test d excluded groups equals nothing, and d groups as nothing, maybe I think test comes later, right? So Maven clean, and maybe I don't even have to clean it because I can use the same files just to keep it fast. So what this is going to do is it has run basically all the tests, right? So if I pull this command up, the excluded groups nothing means exclude nothing, right? And you might think, oh, if I give d groups as nothing, maybe it runs no test cases, but that's not the case. Like this is like a little bit counterintuitive. Not giving anything to exclude does not exclude anything, but not giving anything to include includes everything. And that's the reason it has included all the test cases. Just to show you another example, but if we do give something in the include groups, so if I say, hey, only include smoke test cases, it will only run smoke test cases. So which is just one test case, so it will only run one test case. Let's see it in action. As you can see, it only included one test case. If I want to, let's say, run all the test cases except failing and flaky, you can give them as here, failing, flaky, and now it's going to run all the test cases except the flaking, failing test cases, which would be 11 in count. So I hope you understand like how this works, right? So if you give nothing, it takes all the test cases. If you give nothing in exclude groups, it exclude nothing. If you give something in the include groups, then that's the only thing it runs, and it excludes everything else, right? So with this clarity in mind, if we go back to our test run pull request, I'm going to provide the excluded groups as flaky failing, the included groups as smoke. So it is only going to run the smoke test with every pull request, which is at this moment is only one test case. But when it merges to main, it is going to run everything. And if I just want to make it like more explicit, I can give this here. I hope it does not confuse anyone. It just means it's going to run everything, excluding the flaky and failing groups, right? Let's just test our hypothesis. So let's go to Visual Studio Code. At this moment, we have, renamed file, commit. We have two files now, one only for main, one only for pull request. So let's commit both of them. Let's see what changes I have done here. I changed the Boolean assert from assert equals to assert false, which makes sense. Anything else? No, removing the disabled one. So this is not custom annotations. I should create a new pull request. So let me call it as get branch, get checkout branch, add reusable workflows. And by the way, guys, I expect this video to be a little bit longer because we are going from first just making it work and then to make it better. Or maybe we can do it in two parts. In the first part, we can just make it work, and the second part, I can show you how to make it better. So get branch. So now we have add reusable workflows. Let's just commit this. First, make it work. And let's publish the branch. Okay, I see a message that the branch is published. Let's go to pull request. Click on pull request. Okay, no pull request. Click on code. Pull request. Oh, yeah, I think I have to first. This is Plasma. This is the other repository. So this is not the one that I'm working on. We're working on project 0, right? So let's go to project 0. Project 0. And come on. Project 0. And here in code it says, hey, you have a new pull request. And let's compare and create a pull request. And create pull request. And now it says files change 6. We have two workflows. That's the change on merge to main on pull request. We have, it's showing the previous changes also because I've not yet pulled the change. So let's just get checkout main, do a git pull, get branch, get checkout this branch, get merge with main. Okay, let's fix some merge conflicts. I like to fix my merge conflicts in VS Code because it's much more convenient. It says incoming change has assert false. Wait. Accept current change. This is incoming change. I want to accept the current change. Anything else? Nothing else. Everything else looks good. And that's it. Stage. And does it merge? I think I have to make an empty commit now because sometimes it acts weird. Commit some changes and sync changes. Let's go back, refresh this, and now we should have only 3 files. Yeah, test sandbox class, which contains a test. And then we have these 2 CI workflows, right? So now we have already created a pull request. So it should have triggered an action, which is to add reusable workflow. It's in progress. Let's see what's going on here. And it should only run one test case, right? Which is exactly what it did. Test run 1, failure 0, error 0. And as you can see, it excluded the flaky and failing. It included the smoke test. And when we merge our code to the main branch, at this moment, it should run basically all the tests, right? Because we have another workflow file which says that, which says that run test on main, and while running test on main, that's changed. And on the main, we expect to run all our test cases, right? So let's just go ahead and merge this PR. Squash and merge. And this should trigger a new test, which is on merge to main, right? So now it has queued a new new job, add reusable workflow, because the trigger is on main. And if we look into the workflow file, you can see this is the workflow file that we recently added in the last PR, because in the previous one there was no T groups as empty. So if we go back, test with Maven, and in this one it should run all the tests except the flaky and failing. So we should run 11 test cases in total. So there were 11 test cases in total, right? So the concept works, but the problem is we now have duplicate code. And if I want to have like few more triggers, like maybe with maybe on a schedule I still want to run everything, but maybe on a manual workflow, maybe I want to run my test cases on different environments, like on develop or staging. And then what do I do? Because there's no option to change this here. And should I just keep on creating duplicate files, or should I make something which is much more reusable? So in the next video, that is exactly what we're going to do. We are going to create multiple triggers to trigger the workflow, but we will have just one reusable workflow file, which will take different kind of inputs for different kind of practical work situations, which will be workable for you guys also in your project. So not like a theoretical session, but like a real practical, useful thing. And then we will see how we can run different kind of test with similar workflow for different kind of use case situations, right? So let's just go ahead and see that in the next video. So I hope you learned something useful still in this ugly implementation that we did, and we're going to make it better in the next video. See you. Cheers. Bye-bye.